Okay, so we're going to do a quick rolling title. Uh, this is one way to do it without you don't have to open like another panel and that kind of thing. So I've already created my sequence, 1920 by 1080, and of course we see it down here in the timeline. So I'm going to I'm going to click in the timeline, so that's active. I'm going to go up to graphics and titles, new layer, text. Of course, the shortcut is Control T. I'm going to click on that. I get my new text layer here. I'm still in my selection tool, so I'm going to just kind of sort of justify it left. And then I'm going to click in here, and I get that red highlight, and then I'm going to just start typing, right? Credits. And then I'm going to hit enter, right? It's kind of like a tab, and then I can come down and give myself a little space, right? So I'm going to just give myself, create a quick title here, right? And I'm going to hit 2 enter, so it gives me a little space there, right? All right. And I'm going to hit enter a couple times. Now it's going to get down towards the bottom of the screen, and we're going to expand that in a minute, right? So of course it's down here in the timeline, right? So I select it in the timeline, and I'm going to go graphics and titles, and I'm going to upgrade to source graphic, right? So that way it adds it here in my project panel. I'm going to double click that. I'm going to name it credits, right? You can see the name down here. Well, it actually said credits a second ago. All right, so now my credits, right? So I'm going to select it again in the sequence, and I'm going to go into effects control because now I need a little bit more room on the screen. So to do a roll is, I'm going to do like a vertical roll. So really I'm just adjusting position. So I'm going to turn that on in that first keyframe. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of like roll that. I'm going to the left. I'm dragging the Y property to the left so I can create a little bit more room, and then I click here. All right, I go beyond the Prof G, enter again, and I keep typing. What do I do? I producer, director, I'm going to say edited by Prof G, and you know, maybe I'm going to add a couple more. You could add a whole bunch. You would just have to keep scrolling up to create more room in the screen. So I'm just going to keep this. Thanks for watching. Keep this pretty short, right? So now that's my whole title. So I've got a little extra space here. If I want to really separate that, I'm going to click here again and hit enter again, so I have a little bit more space between that edited by Prof G and thanks for watching. Because I've already thought about this, I want thanks for watching to only end on the screen, and I don't want to see the other titles. So I created some space there, right? So now I'm going to grab that Y and reposition it, right? So I can get the beginning of the credits in position, and so it's going to apply that Y value on that first keyframe. So depending how you want to start your credits, if you want to start them on screen or you want to start them off screen, I'm going to go ahead and create this roll starting off screen. So I'm adjusting that value, I'm going down, and I'm not grabbing the vector motion to move it because I don't want it to, I want it to be straight, so I'm just adjusting the Y. So I'm going to push it down just like it's off screen. There it is, it's just off screen, so that's my value. And then I'm going to go towards the end of my title, which is only 5 seconds. We can extend that in a minute. I'm going to add a second keyframe, which will be the end of the roll, right? So I'm going to drag it to the left, right? And then it's just like basic keyframing, right? And say I want to end it there. All right. So now when you kind of preview that, right, it's going to roll, and again, it's going to end on that last keyframe, right? So now, because you create a title, it's only a 5 second duration. Let's watch it. So it's going to be pretty fast because it has to get all through that in the 5 seconds. But you can extend that, and you want that last title to hold for a few seconds. Instead here it's gonna hold for a second and then go off, right? Because the clip ends. So come down here on your title. This is 5 seconds. I'm gonna extend it to about like 15 seconds. Okay, and you can see the duration on that little white window. In fact, if you want to magnify, click, and you can see where the 15 seconds is. So I'm going to take it to 15 seconds. And now you can move that keyframe later, right? So now that's going to be somewhere around about 13 seconds, and that also slows down your roll. So again, the same basic principles that we apply to keyframing. The shorter, if you have those two values, if the keyframes are really close, it's going to make it fast. If you spread them out, it's going to be slower. So there, if you want to like hold that little thanks for watching, I'm going to drag it a little bit earlier, so it will get to that point and it will hit that last keyframe, and now it sits for like a couple of seconds, right? And then you go ahead and add like a little black, right, at the end of that, couple seconds. So I've created black here, right? I did U item black, there it is. So I'm going to just grab it down, butt it up. It gives me 5 seconds, so I'm just going to trim about 3 seconds, and you can see the window, it says duration, so I'm going to get down to about 2 seconds. It doesn't have to be perfect, just a couple seconds, right? And then I'll go ahead and grab a transition, dissolve over here, right? Apply it right there at that cut. I'm going to click on the actual transition and make this like 15 frames, or you can make it longer. You can keep it at 1 second, whatever you want to do. But now it goes ahead and finishes your roll. It holds for a couple seconds and then it fades to black, and you have a little, couple seconds of pad at the end. And so that's how you do a title. And then you would position this wherever at the end of your project, etc. And that's it. Okay, pretty straight up.